everybody. Welcome back to the Related Podcast. I am your host, Amanda Bybel. It's really cutting her, but we're just going to go with Bybel because that would be the only thing that makes sense with the interviewee Bybel. And I am so excited to talk to you guys today all about some really fun things that I have planned. But before we get into it, I just wanted to give you guys a quick catch up on my week. So Julian is going through the 2-year-old sleep regression. So for all of my mamas out there that have their toddlers entering into their terrible 2s, or maybe they've surpassed it already, you know what I'm talking about. Literally, it's so funny because he actually he tells me every night, sit down on the floor, mommy, outside of the room. Or he'll tell me, sit down on the floor, mommy, inside of the room. And he'll try and hold my hand, which is the cutest thing ever. But a huge win that I want to share with you guys is that last night, for literally the first time ever, I actually put down both kids by myself without any issues. I mean, Julian cried it out for a little while, which I always said that I wasn't going to do, but I think that it was really important for him to relearn some coping skills because a couple of weeks ago he was sick and then he started sleeping in our bed, and I do not recommend that to anybody because then they get thrown out of their routine and things like that. But last night was a massive success. I did it by myself. I mean, I had a little bit of help from my mother-in-law and my brother-in-law because Brett is traveling this week, but during bedtime, actual bedtime, I did it. So I'm celebrating that today because honestly, I think sometimes we forget to celebrate the small things that turn into the big things, because in a week from now, I am going to have my nights back, which is huge because the nights are important, the mornings are important. Another big win that I'm celebrating this week too is I don't know if any of you guys would think this is a win, but I woke up yesterday. Brett was going to the airport and he woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and I decided that I was going to get up at 4:30 in the morning with him because I've been out of that routine. So if you have been in my vortex for some time, then you know that I really, really love the mornings. But ever since Cameron's been born, I've had a really hard time getting up early. I'm sleeping till 7 and all the things, but yesterday I got up at 4:30 in the morning and I had 3 whole hours to myself before any of my children woke up. So I did my tapping, my journaling, my meditation. I got some admin things off of my plate that I've been wanting to get to for quite some time now. So now I have cleared out that mental clutter, which feels incredible. I feel a huge weight has been lifted off of my shoulders, and man, I'm ready to take on the day. It's been a very busy day today, and I had a challenge this morning. I did some business coaching this morning. I did my MILF mindset coach this afternoon, and now here I am recording this episode for you guys. And I'm really excited because what I've been doing each week is actually talking to you all about some of the things that I'm discussing in my courses, and I wanted to do this podcast in a way that you guys can easily digest, really fun and transformational techniques and skills or journal prompts, and really just action it right away. So you're seeing the effects of how incredible it is when your mind is working for you instead of against you. So really quickly before I share on the topic that we're going to talk about today, and today we're going to be talking about all of the different areas of life, feeling busy but also feeling really balanced. And I think that's kind of this whole week has really been an example of that for me, which I'm so excited about. And I love when it's just so aligned to talk about a topic. So we're going to be talking about the wheel of life and balance, and how when you prioritize certain things in your life, how everything just gets better. I had a call with my intuitive advisor, and if that is not something that you are into, then I'm sorry. Maybe you shouldn't be listening to my podcast, because I am really into the wooey, fluffy, airy fairy stuff. And my intuitive advisor gave me this gentle reminder of that something was bound to happen in a really good way. by like the end of the summer, it had me thinking of the importance of like the law of assumption and like the law of expectation. So like, what does that even mean, right? Like, what is the law of assumption? Like, what is the law of expectation? Yeah, they're slightly different, but essentially it's like when you know for certain that something is going to happen for you, you just are different. You approach things differently. Your life is different. Your beliefs are different. Your actions are different. You are just doing things differently because you know that it is a certainty. It is happening and it is a done deal in your future. And she told me this, and this was like so cool. And it kind of like reminded me of like this mind-blowing thing. So I wanted to share it with you guys. So she said that this thing was going to happen. So now like I woke up today and I was like, oh, I was so excited. Like this is not only is it going to be the best day ever, but like I know what all of my non-negotiables are going to be on my list for today, because like if this thing is happening within 6 months, like I better get my ass in gear and like I'm ready for it. Like it's not going to just come knocking on the door, obviously, but like just knowing that it's a done deal changes the way that I am. It changes my energy. It changes my excitement level. Like I'm so motivated. So I want you all, before we get into like talking about like balancing life and all of the things, like what is that thing that in 6 months from now, if you knew it was a certainty, like how would you be different right now? How would you act different? How would your thoughts change? How would your beliefs change about yourself, about your ability to achieve it? How would things change for you? Maybe it's about adding some extra non-negotiables to your list. Maybe you're like, ooh, so that's happening for me. Like, let me go ahead and learn the skill that I need to learn so that when it does happen, like I'm all set. So maybe that's the thing that's going to get the ball rolling. But I just thought that was really cool, because I think sometimes we forget that our energy is literally the thing that activates the law of attraction. Like attracts like, and it is responsible for those quantum leaps that you hear people talking about all the time and you're wondering where the fuck is mine. So here's just a gentle reminder that that goal that you have is a done deal. It is happening. And now that you know it's happening, how are you going to be different today? The wheel of balance, all of your areas of life. We all have like a wheel of balance that essentially encompasses like all of the things that are important to us, all the different areas of our life. For me, I have kind of categorized them into like 9 different areas. For you, it might be 10. For somebody else, it might be 5. So my 9 areas of life are love and sex, career, health and fitness, personal development, family and friendship, universal connection, fun, money, and sacred space. So universal connection for me is like my spirituality. My sacred space is like my home environment and like how high vibe things are. So if you're looking at my space and where I'm sitting right now, I am in my headquarters, the Inner Beauty Bible headquarters, and like a sacred space for me is really important to just have like this space of my own that feels really good. Love and sex, obviously, I don't really have to define that one for you guys. Career is like business, like all business things. And like for you, career and money might go hand in hand. For me, they're absolutely separate. Health and fitness for me is like, you know, my healthy lifestyle, eating really healthy, going to the gym, making sure I'm nourishing my body, drinking enough water, which reminds me, my water's in the other room, but that's okay. I will drink some water after this YouTube video. But all the things that encompass like a healthy lifestyle, personal development for me is like how I continue to educate myself and show up as a leader, and how I can continue to learn new skills to be an even better leader and even more impactful coach. Family and friendship is obviously goes without saying. Under love and sex is where Brett would fall. Brett also would fall under family and friendship as well. So like things can also like interconnect and like go from one or another. So like for me also, like for spirituality, yoga is a really important part of my spiritual practice, as well as an important part of my health and like wellness practice. So I think that when you're thinking about your different areas of life, it's really important to define what those mean to you. And I think the coolest part about it is like, we are all so super duper freaking unique, that something that might fall under my love or my spirituality wouldn't necessarily be something that you define as love or spirituality or whatever the case may be. So we all have different priorities. We all have different things that are important to us as it relates to each of these areas of life. So I want you to think about like what those areas of life are for you, but also remember, when you put the 20% of the focus into one or two areas of life, 80% of the results are created from that. And that, to me, when I learned that, literally blew my mind, because I thought like, and I wasn't sure because I had never like created awareness around it. And like last week when we had our had the podcast episode, I was talking to you guys about like creating awareness, and like this is like the most essential thing for every area of your life, not only creating awareness in your thoughts so you can change them, but also creating awareness in your actions so you can change them, or your priorities, or where your focus is going, right? So for me, and like this is just my story, but like I had put a lot of pressure on myself to achieve certain goals within my life coaching business, with the certification and like achieving different levels of success there. I also put a lot of pressure on myself, like even before I started my business, to have a successful business. So my entire focus was in business. It was putting all of my time and energy into getting on sales calls and putting posts up and, doing the things that are important in a business, which of course, like in order for a business to flourish, those things are necessary, right? But what had happened was, because I put so much pressure on myself, that I actually became like, I started to feel obligated, and it was almost creating, and I wouldn't use the strong word resentment, but it was creating this like really strong, like obligated feeling, like I wasn't excited about it anymore. And again, like, my love for the law of attraction, like if I was feeling obligated in my business, of course, those exciting goals weren't happening for me, because the energy behind what I was doing was so different. And when I learned about just refocusing my priorities, my entire world changed. So what I started to realize for me was that my number one area of life, when I focus on health and wellness, the good just gets better and everything else elevated with it. So like, because I had so much time and focus in my business and my business goals and income goals and things like that, I had actually lost the ability, because I didn't have the time to go to the gym, to prepare my meals, to drink a ton of water. And because I wasn't doing those things for myself, I wasn't feeling like sexy and fit. I wasn't feeling excited to show up on screen on TV. I'm not on TV, on screen, on like the camera, so that I could be on your big screen TV, whatever. But it was like one of those things where like, I just didn't feel good about myself anymore, because like the things that make me feel good are like, I love business. Business makes me feel great, but like health and wellness and feeling really good about myself, that's like a form of self-love and self-care for me. And I wasn't giving myself that time. So understanding this about myself, I was able to redirect like where I was setting some of my like big important goals, and I started to like shift my perspective and set goals in my health and wellness area. So the cool thing about that was like my skin became clearer because I was, eating healthier. I was hydrating myself. I began to go to yoga again. I was fitting in my clothes, and because that was happening, I was feeling more confident when I showed up on like my Instagram stories and when I was showing up on my sales calls. I was wanting to get down and dirty and frisky with my husband, like things just changed because I was putting the focus, instead of on the external business, the internal things that really lit me up. So for you, it might be health and fitness. For you, it might be love. For you, it might be fun. Like those priorities for all of us change because we're all so unique, and it can change and shift as you begin to evolve. So I want you guys to think about, like, when you are exploring these different areas of life, like, what are those daily habits? What are those daily actions? What are your daily goals that show up for you? And what are some of the things that you're doing right now that just like feel really shitty or like feel really icky? Like, if you're doing something that you don't want to be doing, like, it's time to just be like, nah, like, let's not do that anymore. Or if it's something that you have to keep doing, then maybe it's time to reframe how you think about it. So if we have the area of life, for example, of like home and organization, like for me, I'm like, yeah, well, I'd really like to not do 17 loads of laundry a week. Like, let's just cut that out of the thing that I do weekly. Like, that's just not going to work, because like I have to do the laundry. Like, that's just a thing. Like, I have to do the laundry. I have to do the dishes. But you know what? When you actually reframe this to, and this is like, I know you guys probably want to karate chop me or drop kick me because you're like, just think positive, but it's really so true. Like, when you just shift the perspective around how you say things to yourself, everything changes. So like, instead of me saying like, I literally have to do 17 loads of laundry and I feel like I'm never ahead, that's the truth. That's truth. Like, I have 2 kids, like I have a husband, like I'm folding laundry literally like all day on Monday. Every Monday. It's a thing. Anyone else? Anyone else folding laundry all the time? But you know what's really cool about that is, like, instead of saying like, I have to fold laundry and it's just such a fucking pain in the ass and I hate doing it, I actually love, like, this is so funny. I love every evening I have like this routine with Julian, and he gets out of the bath and he runs around the upstairs naked, which it literally warms my soul so much just to like see the pure joy and innocence of like kids. Like, they're just so cute. Like, I can't even like get over, like, Julian, he'll like get out of the tub and he's just like runs straight to our bedroom, like completely butt naked. And I'm like, he's so cute. Like, there's no shame. It's so funny. Like, he'll go and snuggle with Cam. Like, you're so funny. He's so cute. One of my favorite things ever is like at nighttime, part of our routine is like he gets out of the bathtub. And I'm like, okay, Julian, it's time for you to pick out your PJs. You get to pick out your PJs every night. Which PJs do you want to wear? Which ones do you want to have keep company tonight when you're going to sleep? So like, he has fire truck pajamas, he has monster pajamas, he has star pajamas, he has construction truck pajamas, dinosaur pajamas, and like all the different kinds of PJs. And I promise you, I'm gonna get to the point of it in a second. But like, if I'm not folding the laundry and putting it away into where it belongs in his pajama drawer, like, we wouldn't have that routine, you know? And like, that part of our evening is like something that just like lights me up. So instead of being like, oh my God, I have to do laundry, like, I'm looking forward to the part of my day where like Mr. Julian is going to open, like, he just knows his PJ drawer. He's going to open up the pajama drawer and he's going to get to see like all of his PJs just laid out for him, and then he's going to pull them all out and I'm going to fold them again. But he's going to get to choose which ones he wants to wear tonight, and he'll say monster, or he'll say bacon, because we have a bacon, egg, and cheese PJs set for him, which is really funny. And but like, that's something, like, that's a reframe that I can have, right? Like, that's a reframe that I can do where like I get to do that routine with Julian. Or like, if I want to put it on myself, like, I get to wake up on Tuesday morning and like open up my drawer and like it's fully stacked with like folded clothes, where like I can find my yoga pants, or like I can find the tank top that I'm looking for. So it's really just about like the reframe there. Like, if it's something that you still have to do, in quotes, you know, like, it can't just, for me, like, unfortunately can't just stop doing the laundry. But instead I'm like, I get to have this awesome routine with Julian every night because the laundry is done. You know? So what actions, what patterns, what habits would you like to release? Because thinking about it that way, I don't want to release doing laundry, because like everything else in like my life in that area, like when I do it, like there's so many fun routines and things to look forward to. But if it's something that you do want to release and you can release, what is that? How will releasing this action, attitude, or behavior actually propel you forward? So maybe it's pressing the snooze button. Maybe it's like, maybe you stop biting your nails. Maybe instead of throwing the clothes on the floor at night, you're putting it all in the laundry bin. I know now the topic of conversation is laundry because I got off on that tangent, but like it all comes down to the same thing, right? And are there emotions attached to this area of life? So like with my home organization and things like that, like, yeah, it's like high vibe, it's excitement, right? Like I want to come downstairs every single morning to like a clean living room, like with all the toys put away. Do I enjoy putting the toys away? No, I don't enjoy putting the toys away. Like that's not fun for me. Like I don't think any mom, if you're watching this, like who's like, I can't wait to clean up after my child today. I can't wait to get on my hands and knees and scrub the, spaghetti sauce off the ground and off the cabinets and the ceiling and all the things. But like the great thing about putting those actions into place is that like you get to come downstairs bright and early the following morning and like everything's clean. Like you don't have that physical clutter weighing you down being like, fuck, like I didn't put any of the dishes away, or frick, like I still have spaghetti sauce on the patio door. Like you get to do those things. And again, like it's about the reframe, but also about the emotions that are attached to the area of life. So like, no, I'm not excited to clean, but what excites me is a clean room, So I want you to think about like what feels fun about this area of life. I want you to think about how you can continue to nurture this area of life, and essentially how you as a person are growing and evolving when you do nurture those things for you, and how the rest of your life changes when you continue to do things that got your life good. Does that make sense? I hope it does. So an essential part of identifying the different priorities and areas of life and like which ones are going to work really well for you is understanding what becomes possible for you when you commit to it. So yeah, like I said earlier, like with my business and stuff like that, it's important to commit to that. But what's more important is going to be the things that really drive the excitement behind it. So what are some really amazing things that can happen for you on this journey of shifting your focus? Choo-choo. So I know so I'm streaming on YouTube now and also doing the podcast at the same time. So for those of you who are watching on YouTube, if you prefer listening to just an audio or the other way around, we're streaming on both. If you are a listener of the podcast and you're continuing to listen, the train is still there. It's still choo-choos, as Julian would say, choo-choo. He has this like little train that he plays with all the time, and he just calls it his choo-choo, and it's really cute. I'm sorry, I'm like gushing over Julian. I actually just got a picture of, let's give Cam a little bit of love real quick. I got a picture of Cam from my mom, and she was just basically saying he's been like super vocal today. He's got so chunky, like he's got these little rolls in his legs now, and he's like a big boy. It's so funny because like I took him for a sick visit a couple of weeks ago, and he at 3 months weighed the same as what Julian weighed at 4 months. And I'm like, dude, you are growing. They grow so fast. I can't even believe it. He's in this like 6-month clothes already. Like his fingers are getting chunky. His little feet are getting chunky. But Cam is like this little cutest soul ever because like I can't even explain to you. So like Julian, they say that your first child, you adapt to your first child. Like you literally want to do like everything by the book for your first kid. And then like by the time the second kid comes around, like they have to adapt to your life. So like Cameron will literally sleep anywhere with no matter how loud things are around him, which I like totally love. Julian needs like complete and total silence with like the sound machine on like maximum. It's so funny. But she was sending me pictures of Cam before, and like he's playing this little saucer, like the little standing saucer with all the little lights going, watching his Mickey Mouse cooing. Oh, I love him. Yeah. Anyway, so I want you to think about that priority, that area of life, the thing that's really important to you, or maybe you haven't been nurturing or giving enough attention to. What becomes possible for you when you begin to focus your attention there? When you achieve the thing that you want to achieve, in that area of life? What becomes possible? Again, going back to that law of assumption, the law of expectancy. When you know that this is going to happen for you in 30, 60, 90 days, like it is certain, this goal is certain, it is happening. What's possible for you? How does your life change? What becomes available for you? What opportunities are now available for you? What positive things are going to become of you during this process on this journey? What do you get to learn about yourself, about your ability to achieve the things that you say you're going to do the things that you are so excited to do? Who are you going to become on this journey? And also, what does achieving this goal make possible? And I know I said it in like 17 different ways, but like sometimes it's that last time that you think about it, like that's when you're like, oh my gosh, like that's what's going to become possible for me. You know, what happens when you surrender? What happens when you let go? What happens when you totally embody that version of yourself that truly values your personal development or truly really values your health? Because like if you think about it, and like if you're somebody who has like a lot of really like big business goals, when you think about the person who's achieved all of those things in their business, is their number one priority business? For me, it's not. For me, my number one priority is, of course, my family and like my love, but it's also like my self-love, right? So pouring into myself so I could pour into the other things. So when you think about your higher self, like that's also another way that you can think about what that number one priority would be for you and where we can start to direct our focus. So a lot of the times we think of these situations and we're like catastrophizing what won't happen or how you're going to fail or all of the things. But I want you to think about it. What becomes possible when you do succeed? What becomes possible when it is a certainty for you? And what will be possible when all of the things that you're literally writing down on your notebook every day when you're manifesting and like setting your non-negotiables, like what's possible for you when all of those things start to become your reality? So thank you for coming to my TED Talk today. I actually, I nominated myself to be a TED Talk speaker because going back to like the different priorities, right? Like in a year from now, I envision myself like talking on stage and like doing the things that like a leader does. And like when I define leader today, like she's on stage and she's like giving like really motivational talks and is a TED speaker. And like that can't happen for me if I don't actually like apply, right? So like I took action. I'm so proud. So what is something you can do today to take action towards your big goals? How are you going to show up today that is going to be different than you showed up yesterday so that you can support those big dreams that you have? I'm so excited for all of your goals, all of your dreams for 2023, for everything that you guys have planned, because it is a certainty. So if you need permission to dream big, here's your permission. If nobody told you that they love you today, I love you. I hope you guys have an incredible day. And just remember, you are you, and that is your superpower. So I hope you guys have the best ever Thursday, and I will see you all next week. Mwah!